one. Hi guys, this is Noelle from ReOrg Chats, a vlog talking about all things organized. And we are here with one of my favorite people who introduced me to my second favorite person in La Cocina, these two amazing ladies that I when I thought of ReOrg Chats, the holiday episode, this one woman, which then introduced me to this other amazing woman, I was like, this is why I wanted to do ReOrg Chats food segments for this holiday season. And I think if, as Norma will tell us, she's in Facebook jail, guys. You know, she's in Facebook jail, right? Right, yeah. Sonny? So, we're going to...
It wasn't my fault.
Huh?
It wasn't my fault.
It's not her fault. That we'll put a disclaimer that none of this is her fault. She didn't partake in anything illegal.
What I did was I told a certain person that he was very nasty by degrading women, and I go to jail and he stays free. Not fair.
So we're gonna start a hashtag, Free Norma.
Okay.
Okay. Hashtag Norma Matters, and that's a literal and not literal hashtag. So again, like I was saying, ladies, everyone, ReOrg Chats, it's a vlog that we started about 2 months ago, excuse me, I wish it was 2 years ago, on talking about all things organized and really bringing the company, small boutique company, ReOrgYou Inc. to life. Since we've had the opportunity to work with a lot of people within the food industry doing corporate event planning, as well as in a publication 2 years ago, SOFRITO magazine, which is how I met Norma. We'll get into that in a couple minutes. Who else then, I've been fortunate to work with amazing people in different industries in doing what we do at ReOrgYou, which is a professional organization, project management, move and relocation, small business. We will include all the information of these two amazing ladies, as well as our information down below of this video, as well as some clips, their blogs, and at the end of this video, you'll see any of segments that they have probably, I'm sure, have done on any social media for you guys to check a look at a little bit more of the work that they do in the kitchen and outside of the kitchen. And they're just an amazing group of people. So without further ado, I would like to present to you Norma Torres from Platanos, Mangos, and Me, former contributor of SOFRITO magazine, and the amazing Sonia Mendez Garcia from Latina La Cocina. The name alone deserves its own thing, Sonia. I mean, you guys, I was thinking about what I'm going to name the thumbnail for this, and I was like, oh, got it. La Piña, Los Plátanos, Los Mangos, and ReOrg Chats. That's the title, because it's the name alone, guys, is brilliant. But again, ladies, how are you? We'll start with Sonia Norma, thank you so much, because I know you're under the weather, even though I can't believe you because you really look good. God bless. Knock on wood.
No, not that I got in the arm. But you talked with Sonia, because Sonia has a great story.
Yes. Oh my God, that's some amazing stuff. I can't wait till we get to the questions.
How she named her blog. She goes back a long way, and the love of her family, the love of food, and the friendships she has accumulated through her lifetime. I think you should just go with her right now.
All right, so we'll go. This is Norma, right, Sonia? This is who Norma is, right? She's amazing within her own stuff, but this is who she is. So without further ado, Norma, Sonia, you and I chatted, and I got off the phone, and I told Norma, I love her. I want to move to where she is. And then I want her to feed me, and I'll pay her whatever she wants just to feed me. And,
so a lot of people ask that. They want to be my next door neighbor.
Exactly. So Sonia, tell us a little about, first of all, the name of your blog. Again, thank you so much for your time. I know this was kind of a rush during the holiday season, and it's insane for you. But, first question is, how did you come up with Latina La Cocina? That's an awesome name. And your story.
The name La Piña, my dad gave to me because he gave nicknames to all of his kids, and mine was Pina, Piñita, little pineapple. And my name, that was what my family called me my whole life to this day, my cousins, everybody. So when I was trying to think of a blog name that was a must that had to be in the title, Pina somewhere. I mean, La Pina en la Cocina. I mean, it just made sense. And I thought, I know my blog's in English, but it's kind of English and Spanish most times when I'm talking on there. So it was just natural to use that. So it's perfect because I'm the only one. La Pina en la Cocina.
And I think that will be the case, right? You own it, literally.
Yes, I own it.
I mean, it's like Platanos, mangoes, and me, Norma. Like, now that we're on the subject of, how did you come up with that? Like, how do you guys come up with this?
Funny because I was in Puerto Rico with my girlfriend. She had a food blog also, and we're sitting outside in the veranda by the beach. And I said, I want to do a blog. And she goes, what are you naming? I said, in the minute a truck of Platanos passed by, I go, that's it, Platanos. And then I go, mangoes and me. And then it hits, you know. I love the fact, you know, it was just a funny thing, and then to start it, but I've been very negligent. It's been 2 years since I haven't blogged because I lost interest. I lost, I don't know, I just lost it because I like to be challenged, and I belong to certain groups that we challenge each other every month, and we had to come up with things. And then when that ended, I was like, what the hell am I going to do? Meatloaf, you know? Then I let this go for close to 2 years. March will be 2 years or 3. And I try to get back today into my blog, and I can't pull up anything because the pictures are gone, and the things that I have saved, I get a blank screen. So it's going to be a little frustrating for me to get back into blogging. But
we can send you all the Facebook pictures, right, Sonia?
Yes.
I just don't know.
Yeah.
It's so long that I don't know how to get back to it. So Sonia's going to get bothered a little bit because I think she has the same. You have the same company, right? Or did you?
WordPress? You have?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We'll figure it out. Yeah. Right now, all my stuff on Facebook. You know, everything I cook since the COVID started. What is 8 months, 9 months, and every time I cook, I just put it on. You know, I put it on Facebook, and that's how I've been doing it. But I want to do a blog about what I remember when you used to come back from school in summer, you know, after the summer, and the teacher said, what did you do during, you know, the summertime? And you had to write a little story. So that's what I think I'm going to do in my next blog.
Yeah, you should do. Right. What did you do during the time of COVID?
Exactly.
What did you cook?
COVID. Yeah. Not the mangoes and me, the quarantine version.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Don't worry, you can keep it. We'll get you, Sonia and I will get you organized. We'll let you download stuff. We'll download things for you, no problem.
And a funny story, because Platanos, Mangoes, and me, that blog, that name of the blog was stolen from me. And then the guy came and said, well, if you want your name back, you have to give us $2,500. And that's when I kept the name on the blog, but my URL is platanosmangos.com.
Oh.
Very careful when you open up your own blog, because there's a lot of thieves out there and they don't care what they do to you.
Or there's people that, even, as you guys probably know, being more on this space than we have, so we bought ReOrgChats, the domain, even though it won't have a website, just for the purpose of the domain. And then a lot of people sell them. Like, that's what they do. They literally go at what's popular, and then they buy the URLs, right? The domain, and then they sell it for a profit. It's a big business.
$500. My girlfriend said, oh, it's $25. It's okay. I said, no, it's $2,500. Look at what the comma is. You know, I was really pissed off because there's so many people out there that just take advantage, you know. And then you have people, and you know, Sonia, you have people out there that will take your pictures.
Yes.
Make them as theirs.
Pictures.
Or take your recipe and put
the whole recipe.
Really?
And the picture.
Without any credit.
Put it on another site.
Oh, like a guy in Abu Dhabi. Some guy has a Puerto Rican restaurant in Abu Dhabi somewhere, and he won't do any pork things, but he took every single recipe of mine and put it on his menu. And I don't know how I found out about it. This was years ago. I found out, and I wrote them. I said, that's not very nice of you, you know. At least put Normitas Bacalaitos or something.
Well, you're supposed to give credit to the person. If you don't have permission, you're supposed to give credit, and really, as you guys know.
It's online, right, Sonia? If it's online, they can. If you have it out there, they can take it.
Yeah. They do. They take everything, pictures,
You had that
everything.
experience, Sonia? Have you?
Oh yeah, lots and lots of times.
Really?
Yeah, for me, it was just not even worth trying to get it removed most times because it's too frustrating. Everybody's like, oh, you should just be flattered. They're using your picture. And I'm like, I don't think so. It's like, how many hours went into putting that picture there and,
Yeah.
but they do it from all over, in the States, in Mexico, and Spain, all over the place, from everywhere.
Wow.
But
They took my recipe of the tembleque and they put that ugly tembleque picture.
yeah,
God, yeah.
that
it's
was
like,
terrible.
Wow.
I was
Interesting. I always
pissed.
find, see, when we've used pictures for things, especially since we integrated to Instagram, my brother and my husband did pre-law, and I was always very careful just from a liability of being afraid to get sued. Whenever I use something, I always give credit. That's just like, right?
Right.
Even like when we did our Google, as we continue to rebrand and with the new looks and everything, it's like, I go back. And I even found myself with Instagram now, I'll go back, even though pretty much all the pictures even when the pictures are from us, from myself, for the people that I work with or work for me or interns, I'm always like, let me just double check, make sure. I even acknowledge if it's pictures that we're taking from myself or somebody on the team, because you want to show the rights of the picture.
Right. Yeah.
Even like me, even if I take let's say I take a recipe from Joe Blow, let's say, and I tweak it a little bit, I will always adapt it from Joe Blow's,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
recipe. You gotta give credit to people. They work hard for that recipe.
Yes.
What I'm doing is I really like it, but maybe I like a little bit more heat, or I like a little bit more of this. And this is what you do, but you give credit where credit is due.
Wow.
People will know that they'll go to that site, they'll see if they like it, and if they don't,
Hey, guys.
that's
I mean, it's not to say that it's impossible, but it's crazy that it happens at such a large scale. That's insane. Like, you guys have had this happen like a lot. And I'm sure just like many others. Wow.
It's happened to her so many times.
Really, Sonia? Like, that's insane.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, daily on Instagram, sometimes I see my whole post, someone steals the whole post and puts it on their feed. And so then I go and message them and I say, could you take that down, or at least attach my link to my blog, because you're just posting exactly what I posted, word for word, with my text, everything.
Right.
And a couple of them have taken it down, but most of them, they're from countries and you're just like, what?
You know, report it to Instagram or to Facebook.
Yeah, you do. But it's just like, it happens daily.
So back to,
This is where I lose my temper when these things happen, like the guy from Abu Dhabi or whatever his name was. But he told me to, in little words, go F myself, and I was really pissed. But it's to each his own. These things happen. He didn't use a pork recipe because
he doesn't eat pork. He doesn't eat
pork over there. Felt like sending them a chuleta by overnight express.
Sorry, we're being Zoom bombed here. Okay, Christian, say hi real quick.
Hi.
Say hi. Tiro besito, Christian. Say hi, Norma. Hi, Sonia.
He's like
be on TV.
Un besito, tiro moi. Que tú eres mujeriego.
Mujeriego.
Norma, he's kissing you.
No, I'm going to be a grandmother. Go to your room.
Go to your room.
So we talked about the names. Let's talk about Sonia, and then I'm going to get to you, Norma, but since go
ahead.
I love her chair. I love it. So tell us about, Sonia, how did you come up? Well, first of all, let's talk about how do you come up with your creative process as far as like your recipes? There's two questions. First one is, how do you come up with your like your blog? Like, where do you find inspiration for, like, to organize yourself? Like, how did you, what made you start the blog? Let's start there.
Well, what made me start the blog was I was contributing recipes at the Hispanic Kitchen site and also for General Mills.
Yep.
For a couple years, General Mills did an online magazine called Que Rica Vida, where they had all Latina bloggers. And of course, a lot of my inspiration came originally from family recipes. And in order to save those recipes, I started teaching cooking classes. And it helped me to learn how to write recipes because I had no idea. Some of my original recipes were like pages long, and people were telling me your recipes are too long. You can't put them online. People are going to be like, what the heck is that? So eventually, as I learned to write recipes on Hispanic Kitchen, other bloggers approached me and said, you need to have your own blog. You know, you're doing all this work for another site. You need to have your own blog. You can make your own money. Your recipes are good, you know. And so I started my own blog while I was working for other sites. And so eventually, little by little, I ended up, you know, spending all my time for my blog because I wanted it to really grow and make me some money. Because I always heard of people saying, "Oh, I make money off my blog." I'm like, how do you do that? I don't understand. How do you make money off your blog? But finally, when I had enough followers, I learned that you can get advertising on there. And I'm working with a great advertising company, and I'm super happy with the revenue that I make through that. Way more than what I was making when I was working for other sites. So, and you know, you can do it at your own pace. So that's even better.
And for you, it's something that you love, right? That comes natural to you, right? Not just because you're Latina, and you know that's the case for a lot of women and men, and your introduction to the kitchen, right? And we'll segue into that sort of. So where does your, obviously we know that you're an LA native, Mexican background from Monterrey, but where does your recipes come from? Or is it like a smorgasbord of recipes from collaborations, from family, or just your own just thoughts?
It's me being interested in learning all parts of Mexican gastronomy, family recipes, other bloggers that I'm friends with, cooking with other bloggers. You know, even some of Norma's recipes are on my blog, you know, my way, you know, because I always have to have a little more spice than Norma does. But she's always like, make me salsa, but don't make it spicy. And I'm like, okay, I understand. But yeah, you're inspired, like inspired by an ingredient. Like I'm not used to cooking with gandules or things like that, but I'm curious. I'm a curious cook. So if I can take that ingredient and make it into a Mexican inspired recipe using a different ingredient to introduce it to people, you know, and say, hey, I never tried this before, because the blog is all about following my experience with cooking. It's not just, oh, here's the recipe. It's why did I make the recipe? What inspired me to make the recipe? What do I like about it? Would I do it again? And most times, you know, you have to share your failures as much as your good recipes. You know what I mean? You have to tell people, well, I tried this, it didn't work. It's all, I guess I just tell them to come and join me on my journey with preparing these recipes, and I'll let you know what I learned about it and what I like about it, what to do next time. You know, it's mostly about teaching for me.
What's your favorite, and this, I think it's a question for both of you guys. And I asked the same question to you, Norma. Like, where do you get inspiration? I know people are like, well, where do you think? We just cook.
Where do inspiration is, I'm hungry. That's my inspiration. I'm hungry. And it's like, yeah, the yogurt and fruit doesn't always work in the morning. It's like, I want chilaquiles. I want this. I want that. It's like,
or chicharrón.
Yeah, I want chicharrones and salsa. It's like, oh.
With me is that sometimes I swear, sometimes I wake up with this idea of you know, that I dreamt about this dish.
Wait, so you have dreams about your recipes and things you want to cook?
I write down a note, and my friends will know that if they said, you know, Norma, how about making, let's say, un plátano? And I go, okay, I have 15 different ways of making plátanos in 15 minutes. I go, I know, este no me gustó. Let me do this one. Do you know what I mean? So I continue to change things. And Sonia knows that because I change my mind all the time and then I'll come up with something. I follow traditional recipes of my mom or the ones from Venezuela, you know, because we travel a lot. And then, you know, I have a mishmash of beautiful people in my life. My grandchildren on one side are Yugoslavian, Romanian, and the other side is Filipino, German. And these kids are learning. My granddaughters are loving cooking now. You know, I have a 16 and a 19-year-old, and they send me pictures of what they make. I'm so proud because they're following, I think, in their grandma's, you know.
Steps, of course.
La vieja, you know, la vieja nana.
No.
Inspiration. What is inspiration? Inspiration is that to me, it's a plate. I have so many dishes. I'll look at a plate and I go, you know, this would look nice on that plate.
Mm-hmm.
A plate inspires me because
Colors.
it's an open
Colors.
canvas. Yeah, it's an open canvas. And if you see my apartment is colorful. Trust me, very colorful. So my food has to be colorful.
Mm-hmm.
To attract the person. And I think it's a colorful as it is. It sounds, you know, it tastes good too. And then we go back. Now we go to kitchen. To the kitchen. The kitchen here sucks. I moved into this apartment about 2-3 years ago, and from next door that my husband had opened up the kitchen for me. I had an open kitchen. It was beautiful. You walk in, it's open. It goes right into the living room. And then I moved next door to a bigger apartment. And what do I have?
A small kitchen.
A closet. My countertop, okay, I measured it just for you, Noel, 18 inches next to the sink. Then I have, my husband was really cute. He bought me this gorgeous Samsung stuff and a Samsung refrigerator. So I have this big chopping board that I put on top of the stove that I use as a counter space to cook. I will not show you my kitchen because it really is crappy. It's 60, going on 68 years old, a kitchen. And at my age, I refuse to spend $30,000, $40,000 to renew my kitchen. So if you know how to cook, you can cook anywhere.
You can cook anywhere. Mm-hmm.
Right, Sonia?
Yes.
Because you cooked in my kitchen,
I know about small kitchens.
And you have done wonders here. And I miss your freaking tamales. Okay. If you never had a tamale in your life, you got to go to her blog. And by the way, Noel, you spell my name wrong, okay? It's Torres, not Tiros.
You spelled it wrong, not I.
Oh, because the I is next to the O.
Yes, you spelled it wrong.
And I'm making that mistake, so you can fix it. You spelled it wrong.
Don't worry, nobody's going to see the name. They're only going to see this part.
I really thought I was gonna now you're gonna tell me, shut up, Norma, you're talking too much.
No. So Norma, so I think you raised a very good point, and we're gonna get to the space. Because I mean, do you have a small kitchen too, Sonia? Like how and I think that raises the point, right? Because everybody has this. My brother told me one year, one of my stepbrothers, from my dad's side, he writes. And he worked for IFC for many years. And I remember him telling me when he writes a lot of screenplays, which he still does. And I remember him telling me, I respect everybody and you find motivation in whatever way you need to for your craft. But I always find it interesting when people say, I need to be in, the streets of Spain or Milan or the coastal waters of Cancun in order to get inspiration. And it's one of those things where you find inspiration wherever that is, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be
inspiration. You can find inspiration while you're taking a freaking shower.
Exactly.
Okay.
Or taking
I don't have to get a fish and make your the fish thing right there. No, you find inspiration wherever you are, whatever you have in front of you.
Yeah.
You know, if Sonia comes over to the house and brings me a fish, I go, let's do ceviche. And she'll go, well, you take half of that and I'll take half to grill it and make a sauce with it.
Mhm.
You know, this is the inspiration. You don't have, you know, and another thing, even though I have this kitchen that has like about 15 tiles around it, even you have this shit kitchen. Oh, sorry. You have a shitty kitchen.
It's an 18 blog, no worries.
Okay, you have a shitty kitchen, but it gives me, no, this is really bad because you go into this kitchen, you turn on the oven, there's no air coming in, then you have hot flashes and you come out going, I'm dying. But you still get inspired, you still cook, and you know, Sonia knows how it is. Sonia's been here many a time. Sonia's like I love that girl. I miss.
I'm not I know you've invited me millions of times, and I haven't been able to make it.
Give you for not showing up.
For Thanksgiving, I knew she was gonna say that.
Sonia, she was evilness incarnate. This woman, and I'm waiting. I said, nobody can eat because Noelle is coming. Nobody can eat. And then finally my husband said, the hell with her, I'm eating. So it's your fault. You have reputation. Once you get invited to my home and you screw up only once. Second time, yeah.
Since then, she hasn't invited me. Now she tells me,
Oh no.
Come.
Oh, yeah, I invite you now through COVID. Oh my God.
Tender because talking to you guys and having looked at your pictures just before this Zoom, I really was starving. So I'm very rude. And
what do you eat?
A chicken finger, nothing fancy.
Oh my God, you have to have children. You know, chicken fingers.
Okay, but
Pilgrim.
Say this, those little fuckers have the best snack. Okay,
Mama, look, I'll pay. Send them COD, Sonia.
What,
Those
like,
pork tamales. Those
here?
pork, hija de la gran.
wait,
God,
Sonia, do you ship? So on the
What's that?
you ship
Do you know?
any of your food?
I was.
Yeah, do you know
This
Ruben?
morning.
You know Ruben Martinez? I said, did you see this? And he goes, hija de la gran chingada. I said, isn't that a bad word in Mexico? She says, yeah, but I like the way it sounds. It has, you know, you can play it with music. You can say it with music.
You can.
And you know, I'm not
All the time.
Sonia, you know, I'm not that type of a person. I just say what comes out of me, and
Right.
that's my food. Food is me. You know, like today, my neighbor gave me crab meat.
Mm-hmm.
I had some shrimp, so I said to Sonia, I'm going to make crab and shrimp cakes.
Mhm.
But my husband doesn't like crab, so what I do, I took a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and I made a sauce, and I ate the whole crab tin by myself. And today I'm going to do a bruschetta with over a nice piece of bread. It's things that you do, simple little things that you do, right, Sonia?
Right.
You could, you know what she has? Oh my God, the chilaquil, egg huevos.
No, seriously, do you have you ever shipped any of your food? Because I know you. So let's talk about that, ladies. Because I know you've both done catering, right?
She's evil. She thinks that I don't know this, but she can ship frozen stuff.
That's true. We did have a conversation of you freezing things. Tell us about the story. And we elaborate a little bit, but for those who'll be watching this, tell us a story about one of your customers and clients, and I'm sure you've had this too, Norma, that was like, you can freeze that? And you were like, yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
People are surprised. Yeah.
Because Sonia knows that. Sonia gets
people are
Sonia gets the most hysterical questions. Sonia, go ahead.
Especially when the whole COVID thing started. I mean, I was doing it long before that, but when I would share my Instagram stories and, you know, daily things that I did, and I would show people how I stored leftover food, because they would always ask me, what do you do with all that food? I'm like, I freeze it. We eat a lot of freezer meals, you know, pozole, menudo, tamales, anything. And I said, and like Mexican cheese or certain cheese, I said, well, we don't eat a ton of cheese, so I freeze it because it'll go bad. And people were like, you can freeze cheese? Yes, you can freeze pretty much anything. I mean, you can freeze pretty much anything, but they're just basic things that they don't know. And it's like, you can freeze soup. I'm like, yeah, you can freeze soup.
You can freeze huevos, okay? You can
Every
husband,
avocados.
but
You can freeze avocados.
You can freeze avocados? Okay, please
Yes,
educate
yes,
me.
yes.
And how can you freeze huevos, Norma? Like, please teach us. I've
Yeah.
never heard this.
You can
How do you
freeze
do it?
eggs. You can really, you know how I found out you can freeze eggs? I have a refrigerator that is like, well, you know, my brand new refrigerator. And I had put it on a very high thing on the top, and I had put a dozen eggs there. And when I cracked the egg was frozen. So I said, coño. Oh, sorry. I said, what? These eggs. And so I took the egg out, I let it room temperature, I cracked it, and it was fine.
It was
I didn't
fine.
die here. So you can freeze eggs. But if you're really going to freeze the egg, you take a pin and you prick it on both sides. So the air, you know, so it doesn't explode.
Oh,
Just like you're going to freeze a container of milk. You open it up, you pour a little milk out, close it, and you freeze it.
Right, it'll expand.
so
Right.
Sonia, how do you freeze an avocado?
Oh,
Well, you can, I've tested it.
No, I'm asking.
You can freeze it whole. You can freeze it. I cut it in half and vacuum sealed it one time, and that works okay. I mean, it's one of those things that people think you're going to freeze it and it's going to stay in there forever. No, you can't
No.
do that.
No, can I
And
ask
when you
question?
take it out, you're not going to slice it because the texture is going to change. If you're going to make guacamole or salsa, that's fine, but don't expect to take it out and have these beautiful slices of avocado because the freezing part is going to change the texture. But
But you need the
freeze
seed
it.
side?
Sorry. Before you freeze it, do you put lemon juice on it so it won't turn?
you can, but if you have the vacuum sealer, it usually sucks
oh,
it all there. But you can put lemon over it and then do the vacuum sealer.
Yeah, some of us aren't as fancy as you guys, and we don't have vacuum sealers.
That's the vacuum sealer I bought you?
Norma got it for me for my birthday. She gave it to me for my birthday. It's not an expensive brand. It works. It works.
It's Ziploc, baby.
Ziploc brand.
You know,
it works. Yeah.
You know,
It's funny because I just do it old style. I literally take a Ziploc, but now I'm a much more earth environment. So literally a bag of freezer Ziplocs lasts me, like, no lie, guys, 4 months. And you're like, what? Because I went crazy years ago and I
totally
had
understand
the silicone.
You know, it's funny because my husband, you know, to get my husband to buy me a piece of jewelry, it's like, you know, he won't do it. But if my husband gives me a couple of $100 to go shopping, he said, go buy yourself a blouse or a pair of shoes. If I pass by a store that has food stuff in it, that's what
I'm gonna
so
buy.
many freaking gadgets that I think, you know, Sonia, you know what I think I'm gonna do in Noel? I have panini press brand new. I have areperas. I have so many things that I really don't use that I think I'm gonna like auction it off.
I think you should sell them.
You should.
Auction it off, or I don't know. I'll show you something. And
You know what
please
you
don't.
should do? You know how people have auctions of like we do for our clients, like their paintings, like our high net worth clients, right? Like our elite services. But you could do like just like an auction and like she said, like Sonia said, and just auction it off.
Noel, it's a little messy right now because I'm doing coquito and I have boxes over, but my husband just bought me, and I'm winterizing my apartment, so I'm putting things away and washing my coats. But my husband made this for me, sent this to be made for me. I'll show you.
We can't even see the mess. All we see is color, right,
No.
Sonia?
You see the cabinet?
Yes.
Yeah, and then
it's like a buffet table. It's a butler type.
And this is me, and it's a little messy, but that's me. I have so much crap in this house because I used to entertain a lot, and I did catering.
Norma, go over by the window and show us the view.
But you know,
I missed it.
The view is amazing, isn't it? I love your accent, woman.
Yeah, but you know what? The view is bad because it's snowing.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, it is. It is. But it's still beautiful. Norma, you could do Instagram and Zooms right behind there, right? Right, Sonia?
Yeah, I can do everything. You told me, people, you said, let's say if this apartment was worth $500,000, the view would be
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You know, and I'm very humble. I live like, we don't live like, we're humble. Trust me. If I had the money, I'd do that kitchen. My
Yeah.
bathroom is still 1967.
Yeah.
Lucky the toilet works. Yeah.
She's so funny. But you know what? It's called vintage, Norma. You know these
Vintage.
words.
Yeah, like the
Right.
floor,
Beautiful.
I have vintage linoleum squares on my floor because they wanted $20,000 to do my floors. And I said, keep your 20,000. I have vintage floors. They're square linoleum.
You know what's funny? Like people, I remember like being a professional organizer and having worked with a lot of interior designers and also for myself, like people always say, no, well, it's not cheap. I'm like, no, I'm frugal. You just be surprised what I get at a price. And having been blessed to have worked with so many contractors, and over the years, you develop your own people that you work with, right? Like I'm sure you guys have your fruteros and your carniceros and people that you just go and do things to, right?
The best carnicero in Manhattan, as my mother would say, el best carnicero in Manhattan is 38th and 9th Avenue.
I know who you're talking about. I know who you're talking about.
I know his father.
Restaurant right there, not too far. That's amazing. The best goat cheese, olive oil, and beets.
The meats, the butcher. But the funny thing is with this guy is that he has a Dominican guy behind the counter, which I'm not saying names or anything, but the Dominican guy told him, I said, Papi, hey, Papi, it's Normita. And he goes, ¿Qué quieres, Normita? I said, you know, I want a breast of a turkey. I want it deboned and I want to bring over my stuffing. Can you do it? He says, see, I'll do it if you give me some stuffing. So I used to feed them with my, you know, and I get a piece of meat that had stuffing in it. I had to make extra for them.
Yeah.
That's the way it is. I'm sorry, Sonia.
Who do you use, Sonia?
Like, the person that talk on Facebook. I mean, on this thing.
Sonia, who do you use? Do you still find yourself, obviously, like, do you find yourself now that you do the whole farm to table, if your space permits, like, do you garden and grow your own fruits, or do you find yourself going to your local market?
During the summer, I do like a small porch garden, you know, have like chili peppers and tomatoes and all kinds of herbs. But we have a lot of good local farmers markets during the summer. So, you know, give them the business, let them do what they know how to do, and you know, support the small business.
Where do you get your Mexican ingredients, or is it a variety of people?
She comes to New York to visit me and she gets them there. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, New York City. I have gone to New York City and brought a bunch of stuff home, shipped home when I visit family in Texas or California. But New York State has come a long way.
I mean, you have such a big palette, just like
yes, I ship a lot.
She
ships a lot.
She ships a lot.
Really? A lot?
A lot.
A lot. That if you bought, let's say if you bought dried oregano at 99 cents a pound, it was going to cost her like $8 a pound when she ships it. Sorry, Sonia, it's true.
Yeah,
Who ship
that's okay.
I
don't. It's like
my
luxury is buying food ingredients.
Which
that's my luxury.
Right,
it's not fancy shoes or purses. It's food ingredients.
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, that's a lot.
What
so
I spend my money.
That normal. Would you say that she's that person that she's flying on United to LA? Let's just say.
And una maleta llena de condimentos.
It's on
I live.
Gonna make a killing with on this trip.
I live on the 27th floor, and I have a lot of sun.
Yeah.
So I grow during the summertime. I have thyme, oregano, my basil like this, and
basil goes crazy.
Rosemary, oregano, and but I don't do cilantro or really parsley because you can buy that.
Yeah.
My parsley grows to be like 5 feet like this.
Where do you grow it?
Right? Wait. Let me see.
At the window.
It's dying. It's dying right now. But if you and my flowers are dying.
You guys totally have the green thumb. I can't.
If you see my,
oh my God.
I grow everything in my apartment. If I had a chicken, I lay my own eggs.
You know, that's what people think of Latinos, right? You guys know that, right? Like on a joke. When me and my husband, when the first time I took him to Mexico, we're on, you know, and he's a very cultured man. You know, he's probably gonna be like, "You kidding me? You're saying it to the world." Like if I'm, but I remember the first time I went to Mexico, and of course I had opportunity of.
He doesn't talk as much as you, okay?
He doesn't talk as much as me. And we were in Mexico, and we took a bus from, because I was like, I'm not eating in the hotel in Cancun. I'm gonna go to El Mercado 28, like, you know, where the locals like. Yeah, I'm like, dude, I speak Spanish. Like, I'm in Latin America. I'm not Mexican, but I'm in my territory. Like, I got this. And I'm like, I'm going to the mercado. I'm gonna sit on the sidewalk. I don't even want a cute cafe. I want to sit in the sidewalk with the ladies with the taquerias, like making that crap right there, handmade. You guys know, like when you go to Puerto Rico, everyone wants to go to San Juan.
Permiso. No, I'm sorry. I love Puerto Rico. I was born there. I wasn't raised there. I love my island. I think it's the most beautiful. And if anybody sees my blog, my posts on Facebook, I'm always putting things about Puerto Rico. I love Puerto Rico. Don't get mad at me. But let me tell you something. These people that make the bacalaitos that look like a fucking frisbee, dump it in the garbage, because I think what they do, they make the masa and then they take the bacalao and they go dip it in to give it a little flavor. Sorry, I make bacalaitos. I make them like crab cakes, right, Sonia?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think Sonia's phone.
And the best empanadas too.
Exactly.
I've had her empanadas. That I've had. I haven't had your bacalaitos.
My husband calls me the Empanada Queen.
Yeah.
She is.
Every why are you ordering empanadas? Because I want to see how good they are. I said, okay, no problem. And he said, yours is still the best. We go to Puerto Rico. He orders empanadas in this place, and he goes, oh my God, Norma, they're almost as good as yours. And I went, oh, de la gran pudiera considerar. And I went.
So what's your favorite dish to cook, guys? Like, let's start with your favorite dish.
Go ahead, Sonia.
I can't hear you.
Oh, well, one of my favorite.
Well, what are your favorite dishes?
Tamales.
Tamales. You know, you need to FedEx some of those tamales, and we'll even pay
tamales.
Tamales de y ahora de tamales de puerco.
Tamales de puerco.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I like that you did this.
Oh. I'm sorry. Noel, I got to say something about Sonia. Sonia makes the best.
You're gonna cry.
Have you ever heard of al pastor? Tacos al pastor?
Yes. Tacos al pastor.
I learned
with pineapple,
pork and pineapple and everything, and I didn't do it as hot as she makes it because you know I'm a delicate flower. I made it, and people just freaked out, and they thought it was my recipe. I lied to a few idiots, but it's her recipe. Recipe of tacos al pastor that my husband that tries it all the time. He says nobody beats our Sonia. And okay, I
have a story. I have a story about that recipe.
Tell us.
It's worth sharing. When I first posted the oven method on how to make al pastor, there was a lady following me on Instagram, and I had no idea who she was or anything, but she constantly would message me and give me nice compliments. And one day she messages me and she says to me, she leaves me this long message and tells me, I just have to let you know that your al pastor recipe that you posted, you know, for the oven, she says, we used it where I work. And I was like, where do you work? And she's like, I work in a men's prison. She says, and she says, we multiplied your recipe by, I don't know how many. And she says, there was 1,500 inmates.
Wow.
And she says that they were always asking, how come we can't have, you know, you guys make something that reminds us of home? Aww. So obviously there was a lot of Hispanics at that prison. And so they decided to make the al pastor recipe. She says, Sonia, she says, if you could have seen their faces when they started to eat, she said it was complete silence. She says it was almost like she says you could see their faces almost like if they wanted to cry because of the flavors. And I was just like, wow. I was like,
That's that stuff
one
that,
Wow.
recipe, you know what I mean? It's like one recipe.
Her,
It's
to
like,
tell you that her food
Mhm.
should bring you to home.
yeah, it's like,
The story that she just told you, when she told me the story, I cried.
Yeah.
yeah, it's like,
Uh,
you just don't know who you're gonna touch when you're
Exactly.
cooking and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like I got in my blog, I got this girl that says, "Oh my God, you remind me of my abuelita." I go, "Con el permiso, how old is your freaking grandmother?" She goes, "Well, I'm 65, okay?" You know, I'm with her. But it's to tell you that when you get a message, and Sonia knows that, when you get a message that people tell you, I tried your recipe and you remind me of my abuelita, or
Right.
you remind me of Tia that just died, and you remind me. And this is what I miss about blogging, is the fact that we have people out there that will be looking for a recipe for arroz con gandules.
Mhm.
And I will make arroz con gandules a certain way, and they'll go, "Ay, mi abuelita hacía arroz con gandules con chorizo."
Mhm.
Or then on one day, what I did with my sofrito, I make my sofrito, but then I have plantain leaves. So I shred them and I put them in the sofrito. Then I make the arroz con gandules, and then I lo tapo with the leaf.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's it. And when I'm ready to serve, I pick out all the little pieces of the leaves that I put. Y entonces ese arroz con gandules es como un pastel.
Yeah.
Mhm.
¿Tú me entiendes?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my God, I get very emotional because my mother,
Yeah.
my mother was a woman that she hated. My mother hated cooking.
Really?
Leta Franceschini Viqueira de Torres hated cooking, but nobody could cook like her.
That's
You
very
know,
interesting.
Yeah. And I
Very
remember the
interesting.
first time I wanted to impress my mother, I made white rice. And the rice came out glistening because, Spanish people, right, Sonia?
Right.
La mamá decía, o la abuela decía, y si no puedes hacer arroz blanco, no te puedes.
No te puedes
If
casar.
you don't know
I used to hear that, and I learned how to make rice in Hitachi, and I still use it.
So I made this beautiful white rice. I served it. It was glistening. It was gorgeous. And my mother tasted it and spits it out. I said, ¿Qué pasa? Too much salt. Sure enough, I salted it too much. But my stepfather at that time said, Normita, it was wonderful because her beans no tenían sazón. How do you, the rice was salty, but your mother's beans had no flavor.
Yeah, mix
Oh,
the
the
rice
rice.
and beans.
Yeah.
Balance
What's
it out.
your most,
Always did that.
what's
Yeah.
your, Sonia and Norma, what's your most popular dish that people have asked or that you've made? What's your favorite dish to make? Tamales for you, Sonia, or no?
Well, it's the most popular dish right now that everybody's looking for is tamales and pork pozole. And now the upcoming recipe that everybody's talking about for the past 2 years is birria. Everybody wants to make birria.
What's birria? What's birria?
It's basically the traditional birria is made with goat in a red chili consomme.
Oh.
And but the popular recipe that everybody prepares is beef because not everybody does goat and not everybody can get goat. Like I can't get it. But it's popular because with the birria, they serve the consomme on the side and they make birria tacos. But now the popular thing is birria queso tacos. So it's like a cross between a quesadilla and a beef taco, but with corn tortillas.
Ooh.
And then they dip the taco in the consomme. That's like the big thing to do right now.
Right. So you know what it reminds me of? So in my husband's was born in Guyana, raised in Trinidad, and you guys probably, I'm sure, know this dish. They call something called sour sap, and souse, yes, and souse. It's with like the bone of like goat of a lot of different one, and it's really known like right now in Trinidad, and it, like they have it a lot with the COVID. They're like, yeah, modern medicine's great, but you gotta like comer chile. Like my friend Ralph, he's like, everything that his mother, his abuelita, or tios are like, ¿qué están haciendo en Mexico? Like he's doing all the home remedies. Because
Right.
how he's, apart from listening to his doctor, and I'm a big advocate, I'm calling Cuba every 2 seconds. It's those things that are really good for your immune system, right? Just like a ajiaco, right, Norma? El ajiaco, I'm like, miel y limon, people. I give it to my kids with raw garlic. I don't care if you have garlic breath. Let's go. So
My kids hate it when I used to come into. I don't think they remember that because they probably hate me by now. They hated the fact that I had mustard packs. I don't know if you know what that is.
no, what is it?
I've always suffered from chest problems. So you did a mustard plaster. Una plasta de mustard. And heat it and put it on your chest, put it on your back, and it helped. But you see what happens? It has to do with food. You cure everything with food.
You do. You do. It's so funny because
With her sweetness and with that hair.
hair. You really should have an azabache.
No, I'm
Good.
gonna.
Huh? We should
I'm
send, I'm gonna send you one for Christmas. Seriously, my oldest, the youngest that you just saw with the dimples, I have an azabache. He carries it behind his shirt because he hates it. Don't laugh, Norma.
Azabaches are great. We were raised with them. We were raised with azabaches.
Like the evil eye, I'm sure, just like in every country.
Like the Greek.
Yeah.
The Italian horn.
Yeah.
You know what it is? It is what it is, but we believe in God.
Yeah.
And if we believe in our history, our
Yeah.
background of being Latina women, or I don't know, what is the difference between Latina and Hispanic?
No, so I'm going to answer that question because my favorite podcast, which again I'll mention, Pero Let Me Tell You, and I know they would die when they see this.
What is the
They
difference?
talked about it, and the difference is that I was educated on. It's because Hispanic was put on by the census because they were like, where are we supposed to put these freaking people that?
Los parió y no me jodan. Honestly, yo soy Latina, Hispanic. Yo soy una mujer
Right, but
Latina.
they did it because we speak Spanish and somos hispanos, so they
Well-
put it there as a like, you
All
know.
right.
I had run into that issue when I was on Hispanic Kitchen because you had to word things a certain way.
Yeah.
Right.
And I said, well, I grew up Mexican American. That's what I checked off in the boxes every time. And then all of a sudden there was no more Mexican American. It was
You know what I check? Check European, Latino, Hispanic.
You check them off?
Check. Because that's all I am. I'm everything. I'm a
Yeah.
mix of everything.
Y'all are, yeah.
Can I say something funny? When I did my what do you call it? That when you pay $89 to find out who the hell you are.
oh, the ancestry.
You
know
did
what? There's no Latin in me. There's no Latino in the sense of being Caribbean. I have Greek, I have Spaniard, I have South African. I have so much crap, and I don't have Caribbean. I'm like, con el permiso, I like Puerto Rico. So, and I consider myself being Puerto Rican because I was born in Puerto Rico, but I was in Venezuela.
Yeah.
So, and I love Venezuela. Venezuela gave me my upbringing.
And I know we talked about it a little bit, Sonia and Norma. I know we've talked about it as well. And we were going to get into it, but I stopped you, Sonia, because I wanted it to save it for here. But tell us about, like, each of you guys, Sonia and Norma, your favorite memories now in lieu of the holiday season. Like, what's something that brings you back to, I know people are going to expect you, Norma, to say coquito. And of course, Sonia, they're going to expect you to say tamales, but it may not be either of the above, which I know from speaking to either of you, it's none of those. And where did that recipe come from, or recipes?
Please let me.
Sonia has the most hysterical thing because I literally peed in my pants when she was telling me, and I stopped her because I
Which
didn't
one?
want to ruin it.
Which one?
I'm like, I don't remember. We talked about so many things.
Let me be first.
Go ahead.
I come from Venezuela to Nueva York and go to a person's family that is inviting me in, and I get a meal. And the meal is Swanson's TV dinner. The steak, the potato, the keiki, and the string beans. And it comes out from the oven, and there's this gorgeous freaking plate with Salisbury steak and the mashed potato with a little tap of butter. And holy shit, this is incredible. I know, kid, I'm sorry, I cursed. Holy shit, it has everything a person wants. It has food, I mean, it has meat, it has potato, it has dessert, it has vegetable, and to this day, somebody told, to this day, it still tastes the same.
Mhm.
And I remember going into, I was doing a cooking show, and this man said, Nora, what is your favorite food? And I said, Swanson's TV dinner. Because it was the best dinner I ever had. And to this day, if I see it in the freezer in my supermarket, I buy 2 and I put it there.
Mhm.
It's over. Sonia, you go.
What about yours, Sonia?
Well, for the holidays, I guess the funny story was about Thanksgiving, actually, not about Christmas, but you know, my parents moved to California in the 60s, and you know, my whole story on my blog is about adapting to, you know, a Mexican American person growing up in the States, and you know, my mom learning to adapt, you know, recipes or whatever. You know, we didn't grow up with macaroni and cheese and chili or casseroles or anything like that. But one thing that she did adapt early on and took on was cooking Thanksgiving dinner. And you know, we grew up with this beautiful turkey dressing and all that, and we just thought that it was my mom's recipe. You know, it was like, okay, I don't know where she learned it from, but we love it. We still make it today. But come to find out, you know, my mom's recipe for the dressing and the turkey came from the LA Times, you know, from the 60s. And, you know, all of my brothers and sisters and my nieces and nephews, we still prepare that dressing recipe.
I love it.
And we love it because it's like, it's my mom's recipe. We say it's my mom's recipe, but it's from the LA Times, you
What a
know,
great
and
story.
it's amazing. And, you know, it's like, it's about adapting and just learning to live in your surroundings. And, you know, we love that recipe. It's like, it's mom's recipe. It's mom's recipe.
Sonia,
Your point,
Sonia,
Nora, exactly what you were saying.
my mom used to make picadillo. Picadillo. Don't you just love these people that go, oh, let me take a picture. It's good. It's sucking some. Okay, so I curse.
No,
I
no, you know what?
curse.
It humanizes you.
And can I show this to my? I have a 16-year-old that's 6 foot tall, very intelligent, and then I have a 19-year-old that is 5'9", and they send me pictures of everything they cook. They are their grandmother's granddaughters.
Yeah.
They best thing. And then I have a grandson. What the hell? He's a boy. You know, he eats all that shit. But I want to say, Noel,
Yes,
thank you for having me.
of course.
And to this, I have 2 grandchildren and 2 granddaughters and 1 grandchild. But Sonia, that's
Sonia is amazing. And with that, ladies, I want to just say again, thank you, Norma, from like, you know, I love you. I don't see you once a year. I see Norma once a year. I talk to her 3 times a year. I can tell and Biden before I reach Sonia and Norma.
She was now she never showed up, so she's
you see? It's not like you to be bitter.
So like,
but you know, I love you. You're the best. I would tell Norma, I mean, obviously I'm 42 years old. I'm like, I want to be you when I grow up.
70. I just turned 70
I know. I'm like, I want to be normal when I grow up, right? We all aspire to be normal to grow up.
Yes.
Look as you. Yes.
Thank you for the reunion.
Oh, I'm so happy that something.
Goodbye.
This is exactly. Don't worry about it. This is exactly, like I said, why I started this vlog, because it wasn't about social media, and Sonia and I talked about this, and and then you and I have talked about it. It wasn't about that. It was about connectivity, and the holidays bring people together. It's a time of sadness, but it's also a time of a lot of happiness. And I think that it's important to humble ourselves and to be human in the most simplest of ways.
Mhm.
And that's why I said reorg vlog. It's to have a conversation. Because I sat down and said,
Tomorrow, or not tomorrow, on Monday, so you can have this thing, because I'm really, really pissed
whatever
off.
you need, whatever.
I love you guys.
You will download everything. We'll
Be a
organize you. So look for Platanos, Mangoes, and me at platanosmangos.com, right?
Yes, and go.
The me, they freaking took it, but we'll get it back.
I love you.
Let's vote to make sure that Norma's out of Facebook jail.
Free Norma for
Free
Facebook jail.
Norma. Free Norma.
Hours left.
Fine. And Sonia,
I love
thank
you.
you so much for your
Love
beauty.
you. I love you.
Literally inside and out. I don't know you a lot for a very short period of time, but you're just an amazing person in the short time that I've met you. I love your spirit, your energy.
Thank you.
I love you.
Thank you for the reunion.
Tasting your food, but I will say those pictures, like I had to eat. Like I was like, I have to have something to eat when I'm talking to these women. I have to have something. Look for Latina La Cocina. Norma has signed out. I will put all the login information to these ladies' blog, to their Instagram. Thank you so much, Sonia, for your time, for your guidance, for your vision. And may God bless you.
Thank you.
And you create some beautiful, amazing day. Everyone for listening in. This is ReOrg Chats. Please find us at ReOrg Chats. Find again Sonia at Latina de la Cocina, in La Cocina, excuse me. And again, all the information will be on the bottom. If you love what you saw, subscribe. If you don't, comment, tell us why. I'm pretty sure you're gonna love it, right? We cried, we laughed, we interrupted, we talked over each other. We're Latinas. It's what we do. It's how we are. We shouldn't apologize for it. And that's it. Buenas noches. Thank you. We will